Even though hockey is a team sport, in each and every facet of the game, part of it is owning up to your own shortcomings in an effort to improve. Whether it be attitude, performance, or something else, part of earning that valuable respect from teammates and fans is knowing when to be accountable. Therefore, we're going to take a look at a few players that could have taken more accountability over their specific situations. And with that, here are 3 NHL players that blamed everyone else but themselves. Ilya Bryzgalov, known as one of the most entertaining and charismatic characters to have ever played the game, the goaltender was definitely one of a kind. After being drafted by Anaheim at the start of the millennium, Bryzgalov went on to win the Stanley Cup early in his career as a backup. For a few seasons anyways, the netminders seemed to do well in Arizona after being dealt to the Coyotes mid-season. And really, you could say that statistically anyways, he played the best hockey of his entire career with the Coyotes. While shouldering much of the workload in the crease, Bryz in back-to-back seasons recorded a .920 save percentage or higher. However, it quickly became apparent that, not long after, he was struggling immensely. Therefore, when the Coyotes made the choice to trade his signing rights to Philadelphia, many, including his teammates, agreed with the decision. Yotes defenseman at the time, Derek Morris, had this to say about his former teammate, quote, "He's known for letting in bad goals," end quote. Here, we had someone that was on the inside saying this, which was pretty much corroborated a couple seasons later by the Flyers organization. Due to Bryzgalov's struggles in the crease, management unfortunately made the tough decision to buy out their goaltender in the offseason of 2013. But it was how Bryzgalov's agent came across in the media that put his accountability in question. The article that we're referencing here from USA Today also says that this was Bryzgalov's issued statement delivered through agent Rich Winter. "It's terrible in Philadelphia for a goaltender. They block shots, they don't open up lanes, goaltenders can't see the puck. The goalie coach has no authority. The head coach doesn't listen to him. It's an issue, and it's made it a challenge. They pay you $51 million because they seem to think I was good at stopping the puck, and then they never let you see it." And Sergei Bobrovsky, who struggled, leaves Philadelphia, goes to Columbus, and wins the Vezina Trophy. Yeah, Ilya has to take some responsibility for his performance. At the end of the day, I think there's more wrong with Philadelphia's goaltending than just the goaltending, Winter says. So even though there was a subtle attempt to own up to the shortcomings of his client, Winter barely scratched the surface, and at least 95% of the statement was spent blaming the coach, teammates, and management as well. In the end, despite the excuses, Bryzgalov continued to struggle, and after floating from team to team for a couple more seasons, finally announced his retirement in 2015. Most of us by now have heard of the Matt Murray story, one that, for now at least, ends on a rather unfortunate note. So, we're going to backtrack first and begin right after Murray helped Pittsburgh win back-to-back Stanley Cups. Up to that point, the goaltender had been pretty brilliant, really statistically speaking, but once it became time for Murray to take the reins in net as a starter, well, he started to struggle. Granted though, he did undergo the loss of his father James mid-season in 2018, so that could have been part of the reason as to why suddenly his save percentage and goals against average both took a hit. Even after though, it almost seemed like Murray struggled to remain consistent. He would have a great comeback campaign and then all of a sudden falter afterwards, making him increasingly expendable. Sadly, after recording a .899 save percentage and a 2.87 goals against average, Murray's contract was traded to Ottawa in October of 2020. Therefore, after acquiring a player with such pedigree, GM Pierre Dorion decided to make Murray one of the highest paid players on the Senators' young team. With a 4-year deal valued at $25 million, the expectation was that Murray would be able to play at the same level he once did years before. Well, things didn't go as planned when it came to Murray's tenure with the team. For one, he got injured a lot during his first 2 seasons, and when he wasn't on the IR, he was struggling mightily in net. In response to his lackluster performance, Dorion and company made the decision early last season to demote Murray to the AHL and put him on waivers in the process. Knowing that he was sent down after letting in 4 or more goals in 5 consecutive games, it was pretty clear that he was indeed in need of some fine-tuning. But it was how he reacted to the move is why we're here. Even though Murray did keep his composure quite well, what came out of his mouth following the demotion kinda made you wonder if he was holding himself fully accountable for where he was. When asked if he felt that he was scapegoated for Ottawa's mediocrity, Murray replied with, "I do, yeah," he said. but I also think that's part of what you sign up for as a goalie. I think it comes with the territory. Murray then went on to recall what he dealt with at the start of the season. I was sick at first, then I had the head injury, and then COVID, he says. When asked if he needed to work on the technical or mental side of his game, he then replied with, "I don't know if I can exactly answer that specifically," Murray says. "I don't even think it's about that. Like I said, I don't think I've been bad this year by any stretch," he says. Well, it'll definitely be interesting to keep our eyes on the situation moving forward, to see if Murray will remain with the Senators until his contract expires. Even though he was traded to a team with cup aspirations last season, still, Jack Eichel ended up watching another postseason from the sidelines. While this may have been upsetting news for the forward, well, for most in Buffalo, the fan base included, they weren't shedding any tears. When it came down to it, in the simplest terms, while Eichel may have had the skill, he wasn't in any position to be the captain of the team when he was. The on-ice outbursts and off-season remarks that were made didn't help the team's dynamic, despite the fact that, yes, no one was completely in the right here. The Sabres organization did try and appease Eichel for most of his time with the team, gave him the captaincy, fired coaches he didn't particularly like, and signed him to a very handsome contract, paying him $10 million a season. Therefore, when Eichel began to spin this narrative on repeat that his team was the bad guy that wasn't allowing him to get his specific surgery, well, there was a lot more to the story. As I alluded to, for the Sabres, up until the offseason of 2020, they had done just about everything in their power to try and keep their star in Buffalo. So when Eichel submitted a trade request prior to the 2020-21 season beginning, management was probably done trying to make him happy. But yet, for the longest time, we didn't get the full context. Only a poor and unfortunate tale from a multimillionaire that couldn't get a specific surgery that he wanted that had never been performed on an NHL player before, up until that point. In a sense, then, we could say that Eichel was to blame more so than his team. Even still, we did hear comments such as these during the dramatic standoff between player and organization. "I've been a bit upset about the ways things have been handled since I've been hurt," Eichel says. "There has been a bit of a disconnect between myself and the organization." Despite the fact that, as I said, management was never 100% perfect in the handling of Eichel, we can still surmise that this was a player that was never satisfied and still wanted to pretend like his team was always the enemy. I have to tell you about HelloFresh. So I recently decided to try them out for the very first time, and I was very impressed. They offer so many different options that never leave you bored with your meals. For instance, one of their newest releases include Mediterranean recipes that are filled with fresh fruit, vegetables, nuts, olive oils, and whole grains. My favorite meal so far was the honey mustard pork chops with the rice and broccoli. I don't consider myself the best cook at all, but each meal offers detailed directions and pre-portioned vegetables to make your meals easy to fix. If you're wanting to save time, leftovers, and money, HelloFresh is definitely the way to go. I'm always striving to eat healthy myself, and HelloFresh definitely allowed me to do just that. They offer veggie, pescatarian, and fit and wholesome meals to make it easy to stick to your goals if you're looking to lose weight or just maintain it. For me, I really enjoyed not having to worry about going to the store, and it was easier to plan because the portions were already predetermined for me. So if you want to give HelloFresh a try, just go to their website, hellofresh.com, and use my promo code AHOPE16, which will be featured on screen and below, for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprises. Again, that's hellofresh.com using AHOPE16 promo code to get up to 16 free meals and 3 surprises.